Hey everyone. So I want to record a video of me making my Gacha Green deck. I came through several versions of this deck. If you want the updated and most current version, you can skip ahead. I'll post a timestamp in the description of when you can go straight to the updated and most recent version 3 of this deck. But I wanted to make this detailed and explain why I chose these cards, what my thought process was from going from version 1, which is focused on attacking suspended Digimon, to version 2, which is like a gateway between 1 and 3, where I worked on a combo. It's not really consistent in version 2, but it served as a gateway for me to create a version 3 that utilizes the combo pretty well. And then version 3, which is like the deck where I can actually see the combo being used. But again, if you want to skip to the updated version 3, feel free to click on the timestamp. If you'd like to watch this and then see my thought process of why I included cards, why I swapped cards around, then stick around. But here, I'm going to go through version 1 of this deck. Version 1 was focused on mainly attacking suspended Digimon. So with the Gacha deck, it's pretty mandatory that you run 4 copies of Jagamon and 4 copies of Mame-Tyramon. So they both essentially have the same effect. When attacking, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may digivolve this Digimon into a green level 6 card among them without paying its memory cost. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. The Jagamon essentially has the same effect. Instead of you may digivolve, it says you can digivolve. So like the wording is slightly different, but they essentially do the same thing. But in your green Gacha deck, you pretty much have to have 4 and 4 to make it pretty consistent. These cards are basically non-negotiable. Don't change them out. 4 and 4 is a good amount. Initially, I thought that Gotsumon wasn't really needed at 4, and that is technically true. You don't really need to play more than 1 or 2 Gotsumon per game. But I realized now that having 3 Gotsumon isn't that great. If you want consistency, you want to play 4 Gotsumon. Again, this will be shown in the updated deck. I think my thought process here was that 3 Gotsumon is okay. You don't want to be playing Gotsumon all the time, so you just need 3. But while that is true, you do want to draw into your Gotsumon. So you do need 4, or you want to play 4. Gotsumon on play, you may reveal 1 green Digimon card from your hand. If you do, place it on top of your deck. So ideally, you want to have Jagamon or Mame-Tyramon ready to go, or at least have enough memory to be able to play Gotsumon. So when you play Gotsumon, you can place 1 of your level 6s on top of your deck, ensuring that when you swing with Jagamon or Mame-Tyramon, you are going to reveal at least 1 level 6 Digimon for you to digivolve for free into. So Gotsumon is just a key piece to this deck. Again, I think that you should run 4 Gotsumon. Tortomon is also another key part of this deck. Its effect is very similar to Gotsumon. Instead of an on-play effect, it has an inheritable when attacking effect. So the inheritable effect when attacking, you may reveal 1 green Digimon card from your hand and place it on top of your deck to have this Digimon get 3000 DP for the turn. So this is really useful under Jagamon or Mame-Tyramon. When Tortomon is under Jagamon or Mame-Tyramon, then you can place 1 of your level 6s on top of your deck, ensuring that when you attack, you are going to digivolve into a level 6 for free. So let's go through the whole lineup. Kokuwamon. Oh no, I'm struggling with words here. But inherited effect, when this Digimon is level 6 or higher, gains security attack +1. Basically, you only really want to swing when you have a Jagamon or a Mamitiramon, and either you have a level 6 in hand ready to Digivolve with the effect of Tortamon, or if you feel comfortable enough swinging. So you're basically going to Digivolve into a level 6. That is when you pretty much want to swing. Kokuamon sees the level 6 that you Digivolve into as being this Digimon now. So it does get the security attack +1 even after you swing, because security attacks are always checked as a continuous thing that the game does. So as soon as the game sees that you have a level 6, it also sees that you have security attack +1. Tentomon is just a good card for you to run through your deck. It's basically draw 1. It's similar to Gabumon from Blue. When you play it, you draw 1, but it's slightly worse. So Tentomon, you have to reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a green Digimon card, then you add it to your hand. Because of Tentomon, I chose to run 42 green Digimon in this deck. So you have a pretty good chance of being able to reveal one to keep the green Digimon that are revealed into your hand. I went a very heavy green Digimon route, just primarily for Tentomon's effect, because I want to run through the cards quicker. Goblimon was like the flex spot in the deck. It's a green rookie. It's 2 cost. I didn't think that there were other rookies I really wanted. Kokuamon, Gotsumon, Tentomon, these were the 3 rookies that I really wanted. So this spot was just like open. I was thinking, well, it's a flex spot. I decided to put like a 2 cost rookie in. So it's a level 3, 2 cost, 3000 DP, nothing too special, but for 2 costs, it's different than the 3 cost rookies, so it does offer me some tempo advantage and memory management. So in case I want to extend my plays and I have enough memory to play a level 2 and something else, but I don't necessarily have enough memory to play a level 3 and something else, it's good for that, or it's also good for memory choking my opponent. If I'm at 1 memory, I can just play Goblimon for 1 and keep my opponent at 1 memory. So it was just like a flex option. In version 3, you will see this card changed out. Togemon is the best searcher in green for the that you Digivolve into level 4. So when Digivolving, reveal top 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 level 5 or higher Digimon card among them to your hand. I really like this Togemon because it doesn't really care if the Digimon is exactly level 4, or if it's exactly level 5, or if it's exactly level 6, or if it's a green Digimon. Like in this deck it's only green, but it doesn't really matter if it's level 5 or level 6. So basically it extends the pool that you are able to search cards from. In this deck, I'm running 9 level 5s and 7 level 6s. So you have a total of 16 searchable cards with this Togemon, which is pretty good. It's basically a third of your deck that is searchable with this Togemon. So depending on which card you need, do you need a level 5? You can get a level 5. If you need a level 6, you can probably get a level 6. Depending on what you need, you have more options to choose from. So this is the ideal card that I chose for a searcher to just help you get the pieces that you need. We've already been over Tortamon. Tortamon is just there for you to be able to selectively Digivolve into a level 6 from your hand. Kabuterimon is a flex spot. I didn't really think of what I needed from Togemon and Tortamon. Kabutarimon's just there. I chose this because it's a blocker, and also Digivolves for 1, so that's pretty nice. So Digivolving for 1 adds a bunch of tempo to your deck, so you'll be able to progress into your higher stage Digivolutions quicker. But also it's a blocker. You aren't really planning on attacking early game 2, so it just blocks. The when attacking lose 2 memory doesn't really matter too much. It might matter somewhat if you choose to attack and you want to memory choke your opponent. But aside from that, it's just there. It's a blocker. It digivolves for 1. This was a flex spot, and again, you will see this change in version 3. We've been over Jagamon and Mamiteramon. Argamon was just a flex spot. I decided Digisorption's pretty cool. I wanted to run Argamon just for the Digisorption effect. Basically suspending a Digimon to Digivolve for free into my level 5, and then that will bring me to my level 6s earlier. Imperialdramon Dragon Mode BT3. I'll go up a bit. So Imperialdramon Dragon Mode BT3. The only thing that you care about is that it has piercing, and once per turn during your turn, if this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon imbalance survives, it unsuspends itself. So what you want to do is you want to swing with Jagamon or Mamiteramon at your opponent's Digimon. Digivolve into Imperialdramon Dragon Mode. And because you pierce your opponent, hopefully, and survive, you do security check. You check your opponent's security. If you happen to have Kokuamon under it, it checks 2 security cards. If you use Tortomon's effect, it also has plus 3000, so that's a pretty nice buff for you to hopefully live through the 2 security checks. Nidhoggmon is just a pretty nice card to have. So you swing with Jagamon or Mamiteramon, you Digivolve into Nidhoggmon. The Nidhoggmon's effect that you care about, it happens while you Digivolve, so it does kick in. You Digiburst 4, so you Digiburst to level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, so you get to pretty much Digiburst all of your Digimon under it. To suspend all of your opponent's Digimon with 5000 DP or less, and then place all of your opponent's suspended Digimon at the bottom of their decks in any order. So this does kind of matter. Just in a second, I'll explain why I chose these 2 cards. Imperialdramon Fighter Mode is pretty good. It has a decent when Digivolving effect. Return one of your opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less to its owner's hand. So that's pretty much a bunch of level 5s and lowers. A bunch of level 5 and lower. I think that might be all level 5 and lower. Or mostly anyways. But essentially if it's level 5 or lower, you can bounce it to its hand, to the owner's hand. It has a pretty nice when attacking once per turn effect. So you can suspend something once per turn when you attack with this, because you are guaranteed to have a green Digivolution source under it. So Dino Memory Boost, I chose this option because since this deck is focused on attacking your opponent's Digimon, start of turn, Mimi sets you to 3 memory. You have enough memory to play Dino Memory Boost. You play Dino Memory Boost, suspending one of your opponent's Digimon. You swing with Jagamon or Mamiteramon. Since you have a suspended Digimon that you can swing over, you can swing into it and then Digivolve into the Dragon Mode. And because you have Piercing, you can delete that Digimon and also check security. So Dino Memory Boost is there for you to be able to swing into your opponent's suspended Digimon. Alternatively, if there's a Digimon that you want to get rid of that you otherwise don't want to swing over, or it's just not possible for you to swing over it and then delete it, Nidhoggmon is there, so you can Dino Memory Boost start of turn. It's now suspended. You go into Nidhoggmon, and then you Digiburst, and because it's suspended, even though it's not level 5, even though it's not 5,000 DP or less, it's suspended now, so you can bounce it to the bottom of its owner's deck. Imperialdramon Fighter Mode is pretty cool. It is able to Digivolve on top of Dragon Mode for 2. Not that I would come in handy a lot of the time. But just in case you do have something that you want to bounce with 10,000 DP or less, you are able to bounce it with the fighter mode. Not too useful in this deck, but it does get better again in version 3. Mimi Tachikawa is there. Since you're playing to basically delete your opponent's Digimon and attack their suspended Digimon, Mimi Tachikawa is a pretty nice card to have to offer you some aggro. So you are able to hatch eggs, move your level 3 and higher out from your raising area, and then attack with your lower end Digimon while you focus and get rid of your opponent's higher end Digimon. I chose Modimon because you're basically only swinging with levels 5s that turn into level 6s or with level 6s. So the 1000 DP boost is there for you to be able to have a better chance of living through security or swinging over your opponent's Digimon. Koramon's just there because Mimi Tachikawa, I decided to run 5 eggs. It's possible that's not even necessary, but it's just there just in case you go the Mimi route and you decide to go for a bunch of aggro. Koramon helps you to basically look at the top of your deck. The top of card of your deck, if you don't like it, put it on the bottom. If you like it, keep on top. So it's just there. It does increase the chances of you digivolving to a level 6 with Jagamon or Mamiteramon. But otherwise, it's just there mainly because of Mimi Tachikawa and because you might need the 5th egg. Again, I don't think that this deck is too good as it is. It's good. It's almost pretty good, but it is pretty awkward. Fighter mode is an odd include in this deck, so is Argomon. Again, Gotsumon should be 4. It's just like a little bit clunky. Version 2 of this deck. So I wanted to do something unique. I noticed that due to game mechanics, if you swing with Jagamon or Mamiteramon, and then you digivolve into Imperialdramon Fighter mode, it's when attacking effect does not activate when you swing that way. Because after you declared attack, then you digivolve into it. And because you digivolved after you declared attack, it misses the when attacking timing. So it does not trigger the once per turn when attacking effect. Which is very useful because I realized that you are able to get 6 security checks if you have a Davis and Ken on field and a Kokuwamon in its Digivolution source and also Lydramon. So this is like the process between deck 1 and deck 3 where I was like playing around with the idea of creating a combo where you can get 6 checks in with Imperialdramon Fighter mode. This deck is still pretty clunky. So you've already seen what most of these pieces do, so I'll skip over the pieces that I've already addressed, but I will let you know about the combo. So Lydramon is in this deck mainly because it's a blue Digivolution source for Imperialdramon Fighter mode. There aren't many blue Digivolution sources, and because I'm playing Jagamon and Mamiteramon, I can't really squeeze in a level 5 blue-green Digivolution source, so I have to go with level 4 or lower for my Digivolution source choices. So I chose Lydramon. I believe that is the only option that I have for a level 3 or level 4 green-blue Digivolution source. So Lydramon is now mandatory as the 3rd champion in this deck. Togemon, Tortomon, and then Lydramon. So Lydramon's just there because it's blue. So when you attack with Jagamon, or Mamutieramon, and you have a Davis and Ken on field, Kokuamon, Lydramon, and its Digivolution sources. You swing, you Digivolve into Imperialdramon Fighter mode. Sorry. So you Digivolve into the Fire mode. You check 2 times because Kokuamon gives it security attack +1. Because it just Digivolved, it misses the when attacking timing. You suspend Davis and Ken to unsuspend Fighter mode. The 2 checks go through. You attack with Fighter mode, and it's able to unsuspend itself because it has a blue Digivolution source under it, which is Lydramon. So it unsuspends itself, does 2 more checks for a total of 4 checks. Now you are able to swing again a 3rd time in the same turn, and you get 2 more checks in. So 5th check and 6th check. If they don't have a recovery, then you've already depleted through their security stack, assuming that you've lived through all the checks, or you were able to get all 6 checks in. But you are able to get 5 checks in with this deck. I took out the Nidhoggmon. I increased Fighter mode to 3. I increased Dragon mode to 4. So even if you aren't able to Digivolve into Fighter mode, you are able to go the attacking suspended Digimon route, Dino Memory Boost, start of turn, go into Dragon mode, swing over, unsuspends because it deletes an opponent's Digimon, swing again, so you can get 2 to 4 checks depending on if you have Kokuamon under it or not. And then for 2 memory, you can just Digivolve over. If you have Dino Memory Boosts in play before, then you can just crack it, and then you can just Digivolve over in the same turn. Again, same egg lineup. Nothing too special here. I do think that this deck is pretty inconsistent too. Like, it's nice if you have the Lydramon under, and then you can get 6 security checks in the same turn, but it does seem pretty inconsistent. I don't really like it. It's fun and all, but it's not consistent enough to be run. Which brings me to version 3, which I think is pretty consistent, pretty fun. You can get 6 security checks in 1 turn. You can get an OTK in a turn. Let me go over what the version 3 is. So I decided to capitalize on Davis and Ken. I am running 4 copies of Davis and Ken. I realize that it's really important for you if you want to get the OTK or the combo where you pull off 6 security checks in a turn, for you to be running Davis and Ken. So even if you have extra Davis and Kens out, you still benefit from them being multiple copies because you do also get memory gain off of them. So it's not a bad idea to run 4 copies. You want to draw into it. Even if you draw into multiple, then you can still get multiple triggers of memory gain for them. But yeah, you just want at least 1, possibly 2 on the field. So I took out the flex option. I increased Gotsumon to 4 copies. I put in Madoki Betamon as my flex spot for rookie. So Madoki Betamon, your opponent can't gain memory except with tamer effects. It's a level 3. It's a memory blocker. You don't want to Digivolve on top of it. It's just there on the field as a memory blocker. And it serves its purpose being as it is. If you Digivolve over it, it stops being a memory blocker, which is good because there's nothing in this deck that can Digivolve over Madoki Betamon. So pretty much you want to on-play Madoki Betamon when you can, and it just sits on your board, blocking your opponent from gaining memory. It's also included in the deck as a blue Digimon, just so you can get the extra memory from Davis and Ken. So it's just there. It's a flex spot. I chose it as a blue Digimon memory blocker. It just sits on the board, giving you an extra memory per turn with Davis Ken out. Lydramon is still there. I took out the Kabuterimon. It has to be here for the combo to work. I decided to run a bunch of level 6s. I'm running 10 level 6s. If you notice, I'm only running 8 level 5s, but I decided, hey, it's pretty good if I have level 6s, and even if I have more, then at least I have the option to choose which one I Digivolve into, and I also want at least one in my hand when I do have Jagamon or Mametiramon in place. So although I am running 10 level 6s, and I gave up on using options, I find that this is pretty good. So Imperialdramon Dragon Mode ST9 is an interesting include. So let me go through why I chose these cards. Kakuamon. If you have Kakuamon under, and then you attack your opponent's suspended Digimon with BT3 Imperialdramon Dragon Mode, then you are able to pierce and get 2 security checks, which is okay. Pierce 2 security checks. It deletes an opponent's Digimon, unsuspends and then you swing again for a total of 4 checks. So this card is able to get 4 checks. When you first look at Dragon Mode, it seems like a mediocre card to include in a gacha deck. In a mono green gacha deck anyways. In a mono green deck, you can only play like 1 level 3 or level 4 green Digimon for free. So it doesn't really do much. Like, it comes in, you can play 1 level 3 or level 4 for free. It's like mediocre. But because I decided to go with the combo route, and I'm playing a bunch of Davis and Kens, this is actually a pretty good card to include. If it has Kakuamon under it, then it can swing. It can swing for 2 checks after Digivolving from Jagamon or Mametiramon. So it does 2 checks. But before the checks go through, you suspend Davis and Ken to unsuspend this Digimon, and then because it's unsuspended, you can swing for 2 more checks. So 4 checks total, the same as the other Dragon Mode. So I figured, well, both Dragon Modes can swing for 4 checks in a turn. So this has no significant drawback from the BT3 Dragon Mode. So I want to include this one. If you are lucky and you have a Lydramon as Digivolution sources, then you are able to play 2 free Digimon. But either way, you are able to play at least 1 Digimon for free, possibly 2 Digimon for free. You are able to get 4 checks in if you have the Kakuamon. If you don't have Kakuamon, you get 2 checks in. The same as Imperialdramon Dragon Mode from BT3. So if you have Kakuamon, you get 4 checks. If you don't have Kakuamon, you get 2 checks. This has piercing. This can delete an opponent's Digimon and then get the checks in. This does not have piercing. This is able to play 1 or 2 free Digimon and then still get the checks in. So these are pretty good cards. You're going to get at least 1 free Digimon with this, possibly 2. You're able to delete an opponent's Digimon and then get checks in. But both of these either check for 2 or 4 security a turn. Fighter mode is where it gets really interesting. So the aforementioned combo, Kakuamon, Lydramon, and then go into this card. You swing from Jagamon or Mametiramon for 2 checks after digivolving to this. But then before the checks go through, you suspend your Davis and Ken to unsuspend this. Swing again. When attacking, this unsuspends, and they suspend something from your opponent for 2 more checks. And because it's unsuspended, you swing for 2 more checks for 6 checks. If you have a Digimon on field, for example, the Madoki Betamon, you can then attack your opponent to finish the game. But here is where it also gets really interesting. You can get an OTK. Not like that was one OTK possible. So Imperialdramon Fire Mode does 6 checks. If you have another Digimon on field, you can swing to close the game. If you do not have another Digimon on field, here is what you can do. Here is like the ideal setup. There are several setups for you to do, but this is the ideal one. In your Digivolution stack, you have Kakuamon, you have Tortomon, either one of the level 5s, it doesn't matter. So you swing with Jagamon or Mamutiramon at your opponent. You use Tortomon's Inheritable to put Dragon Mode, ST9 Dragon Mode on top of your deck. You Digivolve into ST9 Dragon Mode. You unsuspend Davis and Ken, unsuspending Dragon Mode. So because of the Kakuamon, you do 2 checks. This is unsuspended, so you swing again for 2 more checks. And then if you have a Dragon Mode in your hand, assuming that you do have one in your hand, you can Digivolve for 2 memory onto the Dragon Mode. I may have said that wrong. If you have the Fire Mode, then you can Digivolve for 2 memory into the Dragon Mode. The Digivolving effect doesn't really matter, but because it's Digivolve, if you have another Davis and Ken, you can unsuspend it. You swing your opponent. Because you do have the Imperialdramon Dragon Mode and it is blue and green, then you have at least 1 blue card under it, so you are able to unsuspend it. So it does 2 more checks. If you're keeping track, that's already 6 checks here. Because it unsuspended, then you are able to get 1 final swing in for game. That is a convoluted combo. It may come up, it might not be that consistent, but because there are several OTK combos in the stack, you are able to reliably get an OTK in, or you get very close to it at 4 checks. But again, for this combo to work, you need Kakuamon, Tortomon on field, or if not Tortomon, then at least 5 memory for Gotsumon and then later Fighter Mode. But ideally, Kakuamon, Tortomon, 1 Dragon Mode SC9 in your hand, 1 Fighter Mode BT8 in your hand, and 2 Davis and Kens on field. If you have those, then you can do the OTK. Tortomon is ideal because not only do you save the 3 memory from having to play Gotsumon, but you also get a 3000 DP buff, and most Digimon in this game are under 15,000. So you will likely be able to outlive your opponent's security. I chose Koromons for this deck just for consistency, but if you want to be sure that you can swing over your opponent's Digimon, then you can, of course, choose the Star Deck 4 Digimon Egg, the Digi Egg, that gives you 1,000 for level 6 or higher Digimon. But yeah, this is like the main combo of this deck. You basically go through your Digivolutions. If you have Lydramon and Kakuamon, then this card can get 6 checks in, assuming that a Davis and Ken are on field. So this is pretty easier than the other convoluted combo. You do need another Digimon on field to swing for game. But if you have Kakuamon, Lydramon as Digivolution sources, Davis and Ken on field, you Digivolve into this, unsuspend, get 2 more checks in, 2 more checks in, that's 6 checks. Swing for game with the other Digimon you have on field. That's the easier OTK. The harder one, but still ideal, is Kakuamon, Tortomon, the thing that I said before, that's like another OTK. It is also possible with Imperialdramon Dragon Mode BT 3. I believe that's also possible. It is harder, but basically you do the same thing, but instead of this dragon mode, you go into this dragon mode. The only difference is that you do need the Lydramon under it, because you do need the blue source for when you digivolve into fighter mode. Because you need the blue source, you can't use Tortimon's Inheritable because you have Lydramon as the Digivolution level 4. So you do need enough memory to have to play Gotsumon from your hand. But aside from that, if you have Kokuamon, Lydramon, you have 5 memory at start of turn, you play Gotsumon, put BT3 Imperialdramon Dragon Mode on top of your deck, Digivolve into it, swing at your opponent's suspended Digimon to delete it. It would unsuspend itself, and then you swing for 2 more checks. Then for 2 memory, you Digivolve into fighter mode, tap 1 Davis and Ken to unsuspend it, and then swing for 2 checks. It unsuspends itself, swing for 2 more checks. Actually, no, it doesn't have to swing for 2 more checks. You just win the game then. No, I take it back. It does have to unsuspend for 2 checks, and then you win the game. So the benefit to this is that you only need 1 Davis and Ken. So, there are several things to play around with. But yeah, this deck, there are several OTK options available. Even if you don't get an OTK, you can come pretty close to one. You can get 4 checks in on a turn if you're lucky. Possibly 2 checks in on a turn. Even if you don't get 2 checks in on a turn, you can possibly delete one of your opponent's Digimon, swing over them, get the piercing, or you can get more bodies on the field, or you can bounce an opponent's Digimon to the hand. This deck is pretty nice. It does have several unique abilities for you to utilize. So even if you don't get an OTK in, you can put a lot of pressure on your opponent. I think that this deck's pretty cool. Let's look at the side deck options. I say side deck, but they're just like cards that you can move in and out. I like Madoki Betamon. It's a level 3 that memory blocks your opponent. If you choose not to use Madoki Betamon, you can use Gabumon, for example. It's another level 3 rookie. You trigger draw 1. So it's like nice. I do prefer Madoki Betamon more because there are a lot of memory cards like other people's Hammer Sparks, Jack Raid, Memory Boosts, Digivolution Inheritables that give you memory for doing certain actions, like Patamon's Inheritable. But like, I prefer memory blocking. This slot is like basically what you want, and it's also meta dependent. Currently in this meta, people are using a bunch of memory gaining cards, so I think Madoki Betamon is like the way to go. But later on in a different meta, it could change. Goblimon, just in case you want to change the ratios here, I think that Tentomon is like the rookie that you would probably want to change the ratio on. Kokuamon, I want to keep at 4 just in case I want to pull off the combo. Even if I don't pull off the combo, it's still very useful to get an extra security attack in, especially if you're a Digimon unsuspend. Mimi Tachikawa, I put here, so you can adjust, you can replace Davis Modemiya with Mimi Tachikawa if you want. I think that Davis is better at getting you the pieces that you need. Mimi Tachikawa is there if you want to instead focus on a more aggro approach. So if you don't want to rely on getting an OTK in, you can get Mimi instead of Davis, and then you'll be able to get the extra security swing that way. So before, some combos were like 1 swing short of an OTK, but if you have Mimi, then you can just basically get a free Digimon out and then swing your opponent. So that Mimi is able to finish the otherwise unfinished OTKs. But I do like Davis more. Ice Wall, Hammer Spark. These are the options that are mostly used in blue decks. I'm running 10 level 6s. If you want, you can take out maybe like two of them, and then put in Hammer Sparks or an Ice Wall. Megadef is also a pretty good option for you to include. So if you want to take out these cards, you can put in a Megadef. I do find that it is very useful to have 10, so then you are able to search more easily for a level 6, or if you want more options to choose from. Especially since the fighter mode digivolves onto the dragon mode for 2, so it's essentially a level 6 that's also functionally a level 7. So if you consider this a 7 and 3, or a mix of a pseudo 6 and pseudo 7, it's basically what this is. So I think the 10 is like good for that. Palmon level 3. So you can replace probably some Tentamons with this Palmon. If in case you want to swing over your opponent's Digimon, especially with Imperialdramon Dragon Mode, you are able to use this Palmon to give your Digimon an extra 2000 DP buff. I don't think that's necessary. It might be necessary if your opponent has like a huge Digimon out. But if you have like a Tortamon giving you 3000 DP, I don't think that this Palmon is necessary. Unless they're like 16,000 or higher due to buffs. Kabuterimon. If you want to replace the Togemon with Kabuterimon, it is useful in case you digivolve into ST9 Dragon Mode, and then you are able to play Kabuterimon out for a free blocker. Sneemon from ST9 is also a pretty good flex card for level 4. With this deck, if you're running Davis, Togemon becomes less necessary. So you can use Sneemon. Sneemon can replace Togemon. It's basically Sneemon on play, or on play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Security effect, when this is checked, you play it at the end of battle without paying its memory cost, and then you also get to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon from its on play. So these are pretty good flex options. Kabuterimon is good for you to play for free from Dragon Mode, or just for you to block off early game Rookie Rush. Sneemon is pretty good for you being able to get an extra Digimon come out, but also being able to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon to set up for Imperialdramon Dragon Mode BT3 swinging over, for example. But yeah, these are pretty good level 4s. I think the Togemon is good for me for now. I like Togemon. But if you want to change it to level 4, I would recommend either of these. Needle Spray to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon from playing it. Security effect. It also suspends an opponent's Digimon and then you add to your hand. I prefer this over I forgot the name of it, but it had a reprint in ST9. But Flower Cannon. I think that I prefer Needle Spray in this deck over Flower Cannon, but it's up to you if you want to use it. I don't think that they're completely necessary for this build, so I'm not too sure which one's better. But yeah, I just left them out. But yeah, these are some recommendations for cards that you can include in your deck. If anything, I think that the cards that you really should consider changing in, if you decide to change them in, are Mimi Tachikawa to finish off your OTKs, Kabuterimon Star Deck 4 for blockers, for blocking early game rookies, or just getting out with Imperialdramon Dragon Mode for hopefully surviving an extra turn. Sneemon is also pretty good. If you Digivolve into Imperialdramon Dragon Mode, you can suspend something, or if it's hidden security, it suspends something and it plays itself for free. So I think that Mimi, Tachikawa, Kabuterimon, and Sneemon are the top 3 cards that you should consider running if you don't like Togemon, or if you don't like Davis. But I think that this deck itself is pretty solid. It does what it needs to do. Yeah, thanks for watching my video. I hope that this was good. I know that this was like a very long video. I talked like a lot in it. And because I talked so much, like my throat is dry. But I tried to film this and record this in one take. But hopefully it turned out well. Yeah, this deck is pretty consistent at getting a bunch of security checks in. Hopefully you Digivolve onto the Kakuamon. If you don't get the Kakuamon, it's no big deal. You are able to give your opponent a bunch of pressure by putting more Digimon out for free with Imperialdramon Dragon Mode, or by deleting one of their Digimon while also piercing them, or hopefully bouncing one Digimon from to their hand. But there are several ways for you to give your opponent pressure. I think that this deck is pretty good. I like it. It's fun. It might not be like uber competitive, but it's pretty fun. People aren't really expecting this deck. I don't believe that there is a gacha deck out there that uses Imperialdramon Dragon Mode ST9 and Imperialdramon Fighter Mode BT8. There are decks that use Imperialdramon Dragon Mode BT3, but this is just good. I like having 2 of these Dragon Modes because the Fighter Mode is just able to Digivolve on top of it for 2. So it has more targets to Digivolve on top of. But yeah, this deck seems pretty fun. I think that I really like the core pieces in this deck. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. And I will see you later.